So we're now ready in this video. We're going to add in our glass curtain wall into these two segments right here. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to do that, just so that you get a feel for the tools that you have available to you in Revit. The first thing I'm going to do is open up me a working view of level 1. So I'm just going to double click on level 1. Notice these are my presentation levels, so I don't want to work in those because I don't want to change those. But I'm going to open up level 1 here, and you can see, well, there's a lot of things that are in here that I really don't want to see. So the first thing I'm going to do is hide some of them. First of all are these elevation tags. I really don't need them in the view, so I'm going to hide them by category and get rid of them so that they're out of the way. And then if I want to, I can unhide them by category. And the way that I would do that is I would click in the view, and then I would go down, I would go up here to graphics, okay, and then annotation categories and elevations, and I would just click here and say apply, okay, and my tags, my elevation tags will appear. Okay, so that's the way. I could have turned them off here too, but it was easier just to select them and do it by category. So I'm going to just cancel out on that because I don't want to turn them back on. And then the second thing is that I've got all this gray stuff. Well, let's hide this too. Okay, so I'm going to hide the property line. I really don't need the property line for what we're doing. But I've got all these gray lines. Okay, and what are those gray lines? Well, those gray lines represent what is called an underlay. It's when you lay another piece of paper underneath your working sheet, right? And gives you something as a guide that you can draw on top of and let you know what's underneath it. In three-dimensional modeling, what it does is it allows us to see everything below level 1. Right now, we're on level 1, and so everything we're seeing is defined by the view range. So I'm going to click on here and say edit. So right now, the view range is from level 1, 6 inches below that, which is about the depth of the slab. It should show me everything that's there. And then the cut, what we see here, the cut that's in level 1 is being done at 4 feet. And then I've asked it to show me anything that is up to 7'6". So anything that's above that, it's not going to show me. For instance, if I had a hung ceiling at 10 feet, I wouldn't appear here. But if I change this to 10 feet, it would. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is the grade beams. Okay, there's the grade beams and there's the footings that are down below that as an underlay. And so to turn that off or get rid of it so that it's not in my way, the underlay is defined right over here in the view properties box here. And you'll see range. The base level is top of curve. So I'm seeing everything from the top of curve level all the way up to level 1. Okay, so which includes then the boundary of the topography, the section I cut out for the parking lot, as well as the footings and grade beams and all that. So if I want to get rid of those so I don't see them, what I'm going to do is come in here and set this to none, okay, and apply it. Okay, and when I do, then it's not, all this rest of this got grayed out, and so it's not going to show me any of that stuff. This can be very useful. Say, for instance, you're on the 3rd floor and you want to see where the partition walls on the 2nd floor are so that you can line them up. You can use this underlay to give you that as a guide, but we don't need it for what we're doing today. So now with that turned off, the second thing I'm going to do is shrink this back. Okay, so it's smaller. And then I'm going to just click on WT. I only got 2 views open. That's my 3D view here. So I'm going to select WT, and I'm going to open up the floor plan because I think I can see it okay in kind of a half page there. And then I'm going to open it, this 3D view, so that you can see what's happening in 3D as I go to draw here. And so the first thing I'm going to do is go into architecture and go into walls. Okay, and then we're going to see a list of walls that we used before. Okay, to do that. Matter of fact, here's the one we created called brick on metal stud with rigid insulation, right? And so that's our wall right here. That's that. The first thing I'm going to do is come back. These walls right here, okay, if you remember, are walls I put in, and they don't have rigid insulation in them. So the one thing I'm going to do real quick is select all of them, okay? And I could do this also by just clicking on one of them, since they're different than these walls, and say select all instances visible in the view, okay? And so it's going to select all those, and then I can come up here and just change this. So that's what I'm going to do, is go in here, rigid insulation, okay? And now that 1 inch of rigid insulation has been added, okay? So it's as easy as that, okay? So if I redesign the nature of that wall, I can just come back in, and now if we zoom in right here, you'll see our sheathing and then our insulation right next to it. So now we've just added insulation to the rest of it. So that was a quick and easy solution there. So now let's put in our glass curtain wall. So we're going to go into walls, okay? And we'll scroll down, and in this file you'll have several different curtain walls in here. These I've created. We're going to use them as examples when we go in to do other things, but normally they won't be there if you open up just a base project. But you will have this curtain wall. So I'm going to click on curtain wall 1, which is just a template for a curtain wall. And what I'm going to do is come in and define, okay, I don't want any top offset, okay. I want to go to the top of the parapet, okay. And center line is fine, so it's going to draw it based on the center line of the, and no offset, radius, da 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 da. We're going to define its height, okay, how far, in other words, it's going to start at level 1 and go up. And so with that in place, now I'm just going to select line, and I'm going to draw from the center of that other wall, okay, the center of the metal stud wall, or I may even want the center of the metal stud, in other words, so that I have something to tap into. And I think that's where I'm going to put it. It just all depends aesthetically and also structurally what works best for you, okay. So let's tap into that. And you'll notice now I have this blue sheet of glass, okay? And basically it starts out, there are other ways to put this in where it comes already with mullions, but I want to show you from start kind of how you do it. So now we have our basic sheet of glass, and what we have to do is come in and put our grids in here that are going to define where our mullions are going to go. And so I'm going to do that in the next video. So get this glass in and change this to add your 1 inch of insulation.